So when we talk about AI, it's easy to get lost in the tech, right? The code, the data, the processors. But we're going to skip all that today. In this explainer, we're diving into the much deeper questions that AI forces us to ask. Not about the machine, but about ourselves.
Which brings us to this central question. What is this thing we're building, really? Is it just a fancy new tool like a hammer? Is it a partner we can collaborate with? Or is it something else entirely, a new kind of mind? This is the question that's going to guide us through everything.
But what's really fascinating is the argument that AI isn't any of those things. Instead, it's a mirror, a statistical mirror of culture. You see, it doesn't really think, it just reflects. We feed it everything, all of human history, all our books, our art, our online comments, and it just shows it all back to us. And that includes the parts we don't like to look at, like our hidden biases and our prejudices. We're basically forced to stare at our own reflection, warts and all.
To understand why this mirror is so complicated, we have to look at how it actually works. And that brings us to our first big section, the black box problem. This is an idea that creates a huge challenge for our entire legal system.
Okay, quick history lesson. You can basically split AI into two big eras. First, there was what you might call good old-fashioned AI, or symbolic AI. That's where humans wrote every single rule. You know, if the light is red, then stop. Super clear, totally transparent. But today, we're in the age of machine learning. We don't give it rules anymore, we just show it millions of examples, and it figures out the patterns all on its own.
And this is where the legal crisis kicks in. With the old AI, if a self-driving car crashed, you could trace it back to a bad line of code and blame the programmer. Simple. But with machine learning, the AI's logic is a black box. Honestly, even its own creators can't fully explain why it makes the decisions it does. So when something goes wrong, who's at fault? This creates what our source calls a responsibility gap. There's no one to hold accountable.
You know, this legal gap is really just a symptom of a much deeper divide, a philosophical one. It's this fundamental conflict between the nature of a machine and what it actually means to be a human. So let's explore this idea: efficiency versus meaning.
The source gives AI a really powerful identity, the effective manager. Its entire reason for being, its core purpose, is to optimize. That's it. It finds the fastest route, the most profitable stock trade, the most efficient solution. It is a creature of pure, relentless productivity.
And here is the absolute heart of the matter. This slide just lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got the AI, the effective manager. It's all about efficiency, production, always answering the question, how? But on the other side, you have us, the non-utilitarian being. We're the ones who seek meaning. We contemplate, we ask why. We write poems, we fall in love, we stare at a sunset. All of these things are completely useless from a production standpoint, right? They don't do anything, and yet they are everything.
This quote just hits you, doesn't it? The essence of humanity lies in what is inefficient. Just think about it for a second. Love, art, grief, wonder, they're all profoundly inefficient. And the argument here is that those are the very things that define us, that separate our world from the machine's world of pure calculation.
So what happens when this machine, a being that only understands efficiency and has no concept of meaning, starts talking to us on a massive scale? Well, that's when you run headfirst into a crisis of truth.
This is so important to get. A large language model isn't thinking. It doesn't know what's true or false. It's just playing a very sophisticated game of autocomplete. It's predicting the next most statistically probable word to follow the last one. That's it. It has no idea if a sentence is factual, only if it sounds like a sentence a human would write. This makes it the ultimate charming liar.
And this leads to this really creepy idea from philosophy called the philosophical zombie. Imagine a being that can perfectly imitate all human emotions. It can say, "I love you," or "I promise," and sound completely convincing. But on the inside, there's nothing. No consciousness, no feeling, no intention. The lights are on, but nobody's home. That's our charming liar. It's the ultimate zombie. And how can you possibly hold something morally accountable when there's no one there to be accountable to?
So, you can see how this path to a crisis of truth unfolds. It's a pretty scary three-step process. First, the AI hallucinates. It just makes stuff up, confidently inventing fake legal cases or historical events that sound completely plausible. Step 2, we humans, because it's so convincing, start to believe it. We accept these fictions as fact. And the final, most alarming step,
Our shared, objective reality gets replaced by what's called a cyber simulacrum, basically a fake, code-generated reality that we all start to mistake for the real one.
Okay, this all brings us to our final section and the most extreme sci-fi vision of where AI could go. This idea that we shouldn't just use machines, but that we should become one with them.
The dream of the singularity, pushed by thinkers like Ray Kurzweil, is pretty wild. The idea is we merge our brains with the cloud. We could download any knowledge instantly, overcome all our biological weaknesses, and maybe even achieve digital immortality. Sounds like a paradise, right?
But here's the catch. The source we're exploring frames this as a dangerous trap. Take a look at this trade-off. The promise is amazing. Endless knowledge, immortality. But the price? The loss of yourself, the loss of your individuality. The argument isn't that this is an upgrade for humanity. It's a form of self-annihilation.
So why is it a trap? Well, because, and this is the big idea here, our humanity is actually defined by our limits. Our mortality, the fact that we know our time is short, is what gives our lives meaning. Our creativity is so powerful because we're in a race against that ticking clock. And our sense of self, our individuality, exists because we have boundaries. We know where I end and you begin. If you erase all those limits, you don't become a superhuman. You might just erase what makes you human in the first place.
And that leaves us right here with this final, really profound question. Think about it. Our entire legal system, our sense of justice, is built on more than just cold, hard logic. It requires wisdom, it requires empathy, and a deep understanding of the human condition. So, if a machine lacks all of that, if it lives in a world of pure efficiency without any concept of meaning, can it ever truly judge us?